My dear students, welcome to this English EduSat program. Today, we are going to discuss one of the very important chapters of your grammar book, and you have already read that chapter, types of sentences. So, in this chapter, you have read some items, some important things, and but you have not completed the whole chapter. Today, we will discuss this chapter very clearly. Before going to discuss the items, the principles, and to examine the sentences, let us have a recap of the previous class, what you have already read, right. So, let us begin with our motherland India, the map of our motherland, and the father of our nation, right. So, look at the following groups of words. I have 5 groups of words, some are sentences, some are not sentences. So, we will begin what is a sentence, how a sentence is structured, how a sentence is formed or framed, and what are the different aspects, and then we will discuss types of sentences. So, now you look at the following groups of words. Listen to me carefully. India, my country. Mahatma Gandhi is the father of our nation. How wonderful our motherland is. Can we serve the people of our country? So, my dear students, if you examine these 5 sentences, then you can know all the 5 groups of words, they are not sentences, right. So, if you look at sentence number 1, 3, 4 and 5, they are sentences, but the group of words number 2, India my country, is not at all a sentence, but it is understood. The meaning, the complete sense, the complete meaning is understood, or we can get the complete meaning. If you say India my country, it is completely understood, but it is not a sentence. So, most of the time we give definitions to the term sentence. Sentence is a word or a group of words that gives complete sense. This is the traditional, the old definition, but my dear students, if you ignore the word verb, then you cannot have a very good or complete definition. That is why verb, which is just like the nucleus in the sentence, which is considered to be the nucleus in the sentence, the most important part in the sentence, plays a vital role in forming or in framing or in structuring a sentence. That is why a sentence is a word or a group of words having complete sense or complete meaning with a subject and a verb, right. That is why the verb part is the predicate part and the subject is subject. You have already read all these things in class 9 first chapter, right. So, let us see what are the types of sentences. Again I repeat, a sentence is a word or a group of words and having complete sense or meaning. There is a subject in it and there must be a verb in the predicate part. Without a verb, if it is only one word, then that must be a verb. Without any verb, we cannot think of a sentence, right. So, let us go to the next. What you know, sentences are of 3 types according to their structures. You have already read this, right. I have given some examples. You see, simple sentence, compound sentence, complex sentence. There are 3 types of sentence basing on their structures. ସେମାନେ କେମିତି ତିଆରି ହୁଅନ୍ତି, structure କୁ ନେଇକି, frame କୁ ନେଇକି we can divide sentences under 3 heads, 3 groups: simple sentences, compound sentences and complex sentences. Look at the examples. Sonali worked hard. Sonali worked hard and got a scholarship. You can use she and she got a scholarship, or you can also ignore it, you can leave it out. Sonali worked hard and got a scholarship. And the third example is Sonali, who worked hard, got a scholarship. She got a scholarship which helped her become a doctor. So, you see in the first example, Sonali worked hard. Sonali worked hard is a sentence and only one verb, that is why this is a simple sentence. And in the second example, Sonali worked hard and there is a conjunction and there is another sentence got a scholarship, she got a scholarship. So, two sentences they are joined together by the word conjunction and in the third example, a Sonali who worked hard got a scholarship. So, Sonali got a scholarship, again in the middle who worked hard, there are two words you see, Sonali got is the finite verb and who worked hard, this is another clause. So, there are two clauses here. In the second example, there are two clauses, two small sentences joined by the conjunction and. In the third sentence, there is another clause which is a subordinate clause, we will discuss later, right. So, the simple sentence contains only one clause, a subject plus a verb in the predicate part. The compound sentence has more than one clauses and here we have two clauses and they are also independent clauses, right. She got a scholarship and which helped her become a doctor, right. So, these are two clauses and these two clauses they are not independent, we will discuss why they are not independent. So, a simple sentence again contains only one clause and that contains a subject and also a verb in the predicate part, right. So, now look at the diagram. Sentences are of three types according to their structures, according to their frame or form, one clause and that is simple, more than one clause may be compound, may be complex, right. And we will see, we will discuss how we can know or how we can use compound sentences and how we can use complex sentences later, right. Now, let us see four kinds of simple sentences. So, we have simple sentences, I have already told you simple sentences means we have a subject and we have at least a verb in the predicate part, right. So, simple sentences are of four types: declarative or assertive sentences, number 2 imperative sentences, number 3 exclamatory sentences, number 4 interrogative sentences. So, my dear students, we have four types of simple sentences and we will also see the examples differently separately and we can understand. You have already read all these things, right. So, once again I repeat, we have four types of simple sentences: declarative or assertive sentences, imperative sentences and exclamatory sentences, and the last one or the fourth one is interrogative sentences, right. So, let us see the declarative sentences. So, my dear students, look at the example, study the following sentences. All these sentences are about your very loving and favorite sports star cricketer Virat Kohli. So, Virat Kohli is a good cricketer. He was born in New Delhi on 5th November 1988. He is now about 32 years old. His parents call him Chiku. So, his nickname is, his parents loving name is Chiku, all they call him Chiku, right. His height is 5 feet 9 inches. He is a right hand batsman. All these sentences they state or they say or they assert or they declare the facts about Kohli. So, who is Kohli, when was he born, how old is he, who are his or what do his parents call him, right, how high he is or how tall he is and what is his profession or how does he play cricket, right. All these sentences are assertive or declarative in the sense that all these sentences they begin with the capital letters, end with full stops and they are about the facts, right. So, the factual sentences usually they are declarative sentences. The speaker or the user declares that Virat Kohli is a good cricketer. He declares or he says that he was born in New Delhi on 5th November 1988, right. This is all about declarative. So, we have already discussed there are 4 types of simple sentences, and the next one is how the simple sentences are formed, patterns of declarative sentences or simple sentences, right. So, there are 5 patterns: subject plus verb, subject plus verb plus object, subject plus verb plus object, subject plus verb plus complement, subject plus verb plus object plus complement. These are 5 types you have already read in your previous class. I am just going to give some additional ideas, you can understand better. Subject verb, the children are playing, the children here subject, are playing is verb, and this is a simple sentence, declarative sentence. The headmaster called him, the headmaster, subject, called is the verb, and whom, the headmaster called them, so that is the object whom, right, and he gave them chocolates. So, he subject, gave is the verb, give, gave the second form, and then them, he gave them, he gave the children, right, and that is the indirect object, and then chocolates the direct object. What the headmaster gave, whom the headmaster gave chocolates. So, them and chocolates, these are 2 usually when we ask what and who, and we can also replace them by using pronouns. He gave them these chocolates, right. Okay. So, the fourth one is he is a very kind man. He, the subject is the verb, and a very kind man is a noun phrase, and that is also complement, because complement means if you take it away you cannot have a sentence. If you can say he is, I am, you cannot say that these are sentences. That is why a very kind man is actually the item, the phrase that helps to complete the sentence, and that is complement in the sentence. And the last one, there is another structure, another form, subject plus verb plus object plus complement, means the local people selected him the headmaster. The local people, that is the subject, selected is the verb, select, elect, nominate, choose, these are verbs. In these verbs they actually need this type of structure, right. So, object him is the object and the headmaster is complement. If you say the local people selected him, then you cannot say that this is sentence. So, the local people selected him, what, the headmaster, right, and that is complement. So, you know there are 4 types of sentences, and this is the declarative sentence, and this is the pattern, or there are 5 patterns in English. Whatever the sentence may be, that must be in one of these patterns. You can find this pattern, one of these patterns in any sentence in English language, right. So, let us see imperative sentences. Study the following sentences. It is very hot outside, shut the door, please give me a glass of water, may God bless you, read English newspaper every day to improve your English. So, all these sentences they express either command or request or wish or advice. It is a very hot outside, shut the door, gives instruction. Please get me a glass of water, please, request, this is a request, right. And may God bless you, this is wish, I wish, may God bless you. Read English newspaper, this is advice every day to improve your English. So, advice, wish, request, instruction, command, order, all these sentences they are called imperative sentences, right. And now, you look at exclamatory sentences. What a large salt water lake Chilika is, how wonderful its natural site is, what a beautiful temple Kalijai is inside the lake, how enjoyable the visit to Kalijai temple is. All these sentences the speaker actually expresses his feeling, right, his own feeling, sudden feeling, oh what beautiful garden it is, what a beautiful temple Kalijai is inside the lake, how enjoyable the visit to Kalijai temple is, oh it is very enjoyable, means how enjoyable. All these sentences they are actually exclamatory sentences. These sentences express the strong feeling of the speaker, sudden feeling of the speaker. And the last one is, you see, interrogative sentences. Look at the following sentences. Have you done your homework? There is a question mark. Do you hear me? Who is your class teacher? What did you learn from this class? This is a classroom situation. Have you done your homework? Right? All these sentences are questions, and these question sentences, they end with capital letters and they begin with capital letters and they end with question marks. So, these are all interrogative sentences. Now, students, we discussed the 4 types of simple sentences, then we will see the next type of sentences, right. So, my dear students, we discussed, we recapped what is a sentence, parts of a sentence, how verb plays an important role in the sentence. Without verb we cannot give a definition to the sentence. So, we should rethink about our old definitions, right. And we also discussed the patterns, 5 patterns of simple sentences, and we discussed 4 types of simple sentences. Let us do 1 or 2 activities before going to the next item. So, activity 2, you can see it in your textbook. This is the activity in your grammar textbook exercise. Activity 2, some simple sentences are given below, mention against each whether it is a declarative, interrogative, imperative, exclamatory or anything, and the first one has been done for you. So, let us read out the questions first, then we will discuss the answers. Example is given here. Why were you absent from class yesterday? The question is interrogative. I have already told you. As we identify a person looking at his dress and his function, suppose you want to suppose a person wearing khaki dress is standing at the gate of your school. You have to identify whether the man is a policeman or the man is a forestman or a man from the health department or a man from the from municipality or anything like that. So, how could you know this? Now, you have to look at his star, his actually his work, his function. If he is working, he is maintaining discipline, he is maintaining law and order, he has a badge, he has a written identification or a card with him, then you can say, oh, that is a policeman or that is a man from the health department or that is a forest man, if you see that OP. So, usually the identification is possible to look at the dress or the form and the function. आमे पिले ग्रामर रे दुईटा जिनस जानिकी आमे चिन्हिबा सेटा जिनस केस ग्रामर बहिर आरंभ from the beginning to the end till the end of the book you have to know 2 things. What is its form? ता ड्रेस टा कोन केमती देखा जाउची and what is its function? ता कामटा कोन. So, look at the example. Why were you absent from class yesterday? The question mark is the dress, is the cap. Question mark होची तार एठी पोशाक. ताकू देखि देला हम जानि दबा एटा गोटे खाकी पोशाक पिंदा क्वेश्चन मार्क थिबा वाक्यटी एवं से वाक्यटा काम कोन करछि एटी ना. Here the sentence wants to know, right, the cause of the absent. Sometimes there are question marks, but the sentences they are not questions, they are requests. If I say, could you please help me, right, this is just like a question, you can write it giving a question mark, but the sentence, the function of the sentence is request. The speaker or the user uses the sentence to request the listener, right. So, let us read the questions and we will see. Abdul is a strong boy. Let us move on, right. We told you that story, then how luckily I escaped the accident. Don't touch a live wire. Are you coming with me? Turn to page 25 in your grammar book. So, please mind it, when we say to open a page, we can say turn to page, you see, remember it, turn to page 25, right, in your grammar book. Who did you give it to, right? Let us see the examples. So, we have already discussed the example, why were you absent from class yesterday. This is an interrogative sentence. Abdul is a strong boy. The form is, you will see the sentence begins with a capital letter and ends with a full stop. That is a declarative sentence, that is a fact. Abdul is a strong boy means it is a fact, it is a truth, right, or it is a statement. Let us move on. This is the sentence begins with let, and when we say let us do, let us play, let us move, let us look at the picture, that is one type of suggestion, right, and suggestion, this is suggestion, request, these are all imperative sentences, right. Who told you that story? This is interrogative sentence, right, question mark ends with question mark. Next, how luckily I escaped the accident. Last you see the cap, the dress is exclamatory, right, exclamation. How luckily I escaped the accident, exclamatory. Do not touch, this is advice. Do not touch that live wire, imperative. Are you coming with me? Again ends with a question mark, and that is an interrogative sentence. Turn to page 25. I have already told you this sentence begins with a verb, and this is one type of instruction or advice, and this is imperative sentence, right. Who did you give it to? The sentence ends with a question, and this is an interrogative sentence, right. So, my dear students, activity 3, turn the following declarative sentences into exclamatory sentences using how or what at the beginning of the sentences. The weather is very fine. She is a very intelligent girl. She speaks very fluently. She has got very sharp memory. It is a very beautiful night. She has put on a very costly necklace, right. Let us see the answers. The weather is very fine. So, we have to change the sentence into exclamatory. How fine the weather is? My dear students, usually you can get this type of questions in your examinations and in also different entrance examinations in your life. So, when you are asked to change the sentence into an exclamatory sentence, you have to be very careful, and this is the easiest, that is the easiest technique. You just see the weather is very fine, is very fine. So, when there is very, you just start with this. If without the sentence is without a or an, you start like this, you begin the sentence with how. So, how fine, you avoid very and start with how fine, then again the first part you connect to it. So, how fine the weather is, you see. So, from very, in place of very you just use how, then how fine the weather is, that is the way you can use. If there is no a or an, if there is a or an, what will happen? She is a very intelligent girl, right. So, what happens? There is an article, and if you have an article, then you have to avoid very and you have to start from the article. So, what we should use, but because there is intelligent and very is left out, that is why we can say what an intelligent girl she is. So, you start from the article and again you connect the first part and you start the sentence with what. So, if there is no a or an, start with how in place of very. If there is a or an, you start with what. This is the technique, and you can change the sentences into exclamatory sentences easily. He speaks very fluently. You see, there is no a or an, a कि an नहीं एटी, तो आमे कौन करिवा ना very जगह आमे how लगे दबा, how fluently लगे देले, प्रथम पार्ट को he speaks टाको नहीं कि जोड़ी देले, exclamatory marks दे देले, चिन्ह दे देले, sentence है गला, how fluently he speaks. This is the actually easy technique to answer the question, and it is very easy to get 1 mark or 2 marks in your examinations, right. Next one, she has got a very sharp memory. In this sentence there is an article a. So, I have already told you, if there is a, then start with what, and जदि a अच्छी what ru आरंभ करो, what ru आरंभ करिके a बा an ताठु लगेगी नियो, बाकी प्रथम पार्ट ताको जोग कर दो. So, what is sharp memory, very काटी दबा में. So, what is sharp memory she has got? Exactly, it is a very beautiful night. Oh, what a beautiful night it is. Exactly, से ए जगह आमे लगेइबा, very टाको उठे दबा, तापरे जोड़ी देके exclamation mark दे दबा. She has put on a very costly necklace. What a costly necklace she has put on. So, these are the answers, and let us go to another activity. There are some verbs in the brackets. Fill in the blanks in the following sentences choosing the appropriate verbs from the brackets. Right. The examination is at hand. Dash the best use of your time. Dash on your studies. Dash watching television. Dash the advice of your teachers when you are in difficulty. Don't dash nervous. Always for the best. Right. You just look at the answer very quickly. So, the examination is at hand. Make the best use of your time. So, make the best use of your time. Look at the sentence. The sentence begins with the verb. This is an imperative sentence. Concentrate on your studies. Right? Again, the sentence begins with the verb. Avoid watching television. Take the advice of your teachers. And when you are in difficulty, don't get nervous. Don't get nervous. Always hope for the best. Please remember all these sentences. All these sentences except the first sentence, they are imperative sentences, because all these sentences are used by the speaker to give advice. Thank you very much. I think you understand all these things, and in the next session we will discuss the next part, that is, we have already discussed the simple sentences, and we will discuss the compound sentences and complex sentences in the next class. Thank you children. Thank you very much.